Buddhism, a philosophy often associated with peace, tranquility, and, yes, perhaps even bald figures meditating, stands as one of the world's oldest surviving spiritual traditions. Founded over 2,500 years ago in India by the followers of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, it has grown to become the world's fourth largest religion, with over 520 million adherents, roughly 7% of humanity. Almost all of these followers are historically located within a specific geographic circle, meaning that if you live outside of this region, you might not know much about Buddhist beliefs. So, what exactly is Buddhism? Who is the Buddha? And is life truly an endless cycle of pain, misery, disappointment, and death? Well, let's find out. The Buddha was a philosopher, a profound meditator, an unparalleled spiritual teacher, and a revolutionary religious leader who is universally credited as the founder of Buddhism. He was born as Prince Siddhartha Gautama in India around 566 BCE into an aristocratic family. At the age of 29, he made the momentous decision to leave the opulent comforts of his home to seek the true meaning of the suffering he saw around him. After 6 years of arduous yogic training, he wisely abandoned the way of self-mortification, which he found to be an extreme, and instead sat in mindful meditation beneath a Bodhi tree. On the full moon of May, with the rising of the morning star, Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha, the awakened one. The Buddha then tirelessly wandered the plains of northeastern India for 45 more years, compassionately teaching the path, or Dharma, Dhamma, he had realized in that profound moment of awakening. Around him, a vibrant community of people developed, drawn from every tribe and caste, all devoted to practicing this liberating path. Nowadays, he is worshipped by most Buddhist schools as the enlightened one who has escaped the cycle of birth and rebirth, ultimately transcending karma. Their main teachings focus on his profound insight into dukkha, meaning suffering, or unsatisfactoriness, and into nirvana, which means the end of suffering. He had a huge influence not only in Asia but all around the world, and his wisdom continues to guide millions today. So, here are 10 invaluable life lessons we can learn from the Buddha. Practical principles to transform your own life. 1. Practice the middle way, the balanced path to contentment. The Buddha's very first and most fundamental teaching for living a life free from suffering is to practice the middle way. He profoundly states, the root of suffering is desire. This isn't just a philosophical statement, it's a direct observation of human nature. Siddhartha Gautama spent the rest of his life reflecting on and teaching the Four Noble Truths, which form the very foundation of Buddhist understanding. There is suffering, dukkha. Life, by its nature, involves dissatisfaction and impermanence. The cause of suffering is our desires, tanha. Our craving and clinging to things lead to disappointment. The solution to our suffering, then, is to release ourselves from our desires. By letting go of attachment, we can end suffering. The Noble Eightfold Path that leads to our release from suffering. This is the practical guide. He realized firsthand that life was far from perfect. Even in luxury, people often try to distract themselves from life's harsh realities by ceaselessly seeking material attachments, wealth, fame, honor, fleeting pleasures. He had the chance to experience this firsthand, being born into a very wealthy family, where every desire was instantly fulfilled. But this opulent life led to a deep sense of dissatisfaction. His awakening began when he walked out of his palace for the first time and saw the three harsh realities: sickness, old age, and death. These encounters plunged him into an existential crisis. To find a solution, he embraced asceticism, trying to escape internal sufferings by depriving himself of any material comfort and need, pushing his body to the brink of starvation. With this, he grew very ill, becoming skeletal, and profoundly realized that asceticism, like indulgence, did not spare him from desires and suffering. It was simply the opposite extreme. Hence, the Buddha teaches us that we must strive for the middle way, the life between excessive luxury and extreme poverty. A dynamic balance between overindulging and depriving ourselves of the things we desire. To practice the middle way, one must primarily free oneself of one's desires, particularly the clinging that accompanies them. We must learn to celebrate the idea of just enough and embrace a more balanced, Sustainable lifestyle that acknowledges and embraces the wholesome pleasures of existence without falling into the trap of insatiable consumption. Nurse Bronnie Ware, an Australian nurse who focused on caring for terminally ill people, often shared profound insights from those nearing life's end. One of the most common regrets of a dying person, she says, is, "I wish I hadn't worked so hard." We tend to lose too much of our precious time chasing things that are easily disposable, getting the latest gadgets, wanting to get a new position, striving to accumulate 5 digits in our bank account. But after getting all of these things, we often still find ourselves wanting more, or sadly, that we do not seem happy or fulfilled with what we have acquired. When we equate our happiness with getting what we desire, we will never find lasting happiness and will suffer every day, caught in a perpetual cycle of craving. 2. Adopt the right view. Cultivating mindful responses. According to the Buddha, do not get upset with people or situations. Both are powerless without your reaction. This profound statement invites us to adopt the right view, samadhi, to be more philosophical about the opinions we hold, to become acutely aware of what we think, and then to inquire more deeply into why we think what we think. Only then can we know if our thoughts are true, false, or simply confused by biases. Our thoughts profoundly affect our daily decisions and relationships. We would make far better decisions in all aspects of our lives if we were clearer about the foundations of our own thinking, rather than being swept away by emotional impulses. The problem with this is that we tend to react quickly, almost instinctively, to things that happen around us. Stephen Covey, in his timeless book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, beautifully articulates this as the 90-10 rule of life. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. This means our suffering is often self-imposed, not externally dictated. Example: imagine that before going to work, you trip on your child's bike left in the driveway. Your child runs to you, apologizing sincerely, but instead of recognizing their remorse, you yell at him, using harsh words loud enough for your wife to hear. She storms outside and tells you to watch your mouth, escalating the tension. You immediately start an argument with your wife that ends up with you either missing your morning bus or almost getting into an accident for driving too fast. Still fuming, on the road, then, when you finally arrive at work 15 minutes late, you remain unproductive for the entire day because you are still angry. Replaying the morning's conflict, your team leader reprimands you, and because of the pent-up frustration from the morning, you yell back at him. You come home with a probationary suspension, a cold, tense treatment from your family, and a sour, ruined day. Imagine alternately that when you tripped, you stood up, breathed slowly, allowed the initial sting to pass, then gently forgave your child and said, "Be careful next time. Remember to keep your bike inside the garage." By choosing this mindful response, you won't be starting an unnecessary argument that cannot solve what happened. You won't miss the bus or hurry recklessly through traffic, and you will effectively take control of your day, preventing a chain reaction of negativity. We can indeed be happy if we become proactive, not reactive, to what is happening to us. We need to have a right view of things, understanding that we can always choose not to be affected by what is happening around us, but to use what we have within us towards our own growth and well-being. 3. Create good karma. The power of intentional action. In the profound words of the Buddha, it is mental volition. O monks, that I call karma. Having willed, one acts through body, speech, or mind. In Buddhism, karma means only actions performed with one's own volition, conscious intention. Not all actions. Our karma is not merely fate, it's a dynamic law of cause and effect. As volitions, intentions can be relatively good or bad, so the resulting karma will be good or bad. Good karma will lead to good outcomes, and bad karma to bad outcomes in life. Volition is a complex concept, often at the crossroads between emotion and reason. In Eastern philosophies, volition is the most significant factor in determining the karma. It is what determines the ethical quality of the action. A bad volition is based on a bad attitude or a bad intention. To avoid having bad karma, we must align our actions to positive attitudes and intentions. In other words, we have to work primarily on purifying our attitudes and intentions, striving to be clean in our thoughts and feelings. Our intentions will inevitably lead to our actions, And these actions can have profound consequences in our life. We need to work diligently on ourselves in the present moment in order to meticulously build a better future for ourselves. Just as what we did in the past has echoes in the present, what we do now will have echoes in the future. Examples of karma in action. If we don't study well for an exam, we may fail. This is the direct result of unskillful action. If we sleep through our deadlines and delay doing our tasks, we may be late or miss opportunities. If we consistently eat too much, we may suffer from sickness in the future. If we indulge in smoking and alcohol, we may struggle to give them up in the years to come, facing health consequences. But remember, nothing is written in stone. Our past does not define us. And what we do today can fundamentally shape our present and our future. If we choose to give more effort today, then we are sure to go beyond our past mistakes. If we, for example, choose to study better starting now, we can still achieve our dream job or graduate in the course we love, even if that would take longer than we initially planned. If we choose to make a schedule, plan how we will balance our priorities and our workload, then we can still finish our tasks efficiently and become better in our jobs. If we choose to start exercising regularly, we can still live more healthily than we are now. However, to make the right changes takes conscious effort, and this effort will not have lasting effects unless it comes from a good attitude and good intentions. Or, in other words, from a deep compassion towards ourselves and others. The transformation of karma begins with the purification of intention. 4. Live every day like it is your last, embracing impermanence and the present. The Buddha profoundly reminds us, ardently, do today what must be done. Who knows? Tomorrow death comes. Buddhism teaches that life is a cycle of birth and rebirth, samsara. And our ultimate goal should be to liberate ourselves from that cycle of suffering. The problem is, we tend to think that we have all the time in the world. An illusion that breeds procrastination and complacency. We put all our efforts into a tomorrow that may never come. I'll start exercising tomorrow. I'll finish my work tomorrow. I'll call my mom tomorrow. I'll ask for forgiveness tomorrow. This is a painful reality we need to face. The fleeting nature of time and the certainty of anicca, impermanence. If we learn to truly see that every day can be our last, we will live ardently each day, making peace with everyone, doing what we can do today with full presence, and then sleep peacefully at night, knowing that we lived our day to the fullest. That is why it is important to start your day right, by practicing mindfulness meditation. For example, when you focus on breathing in and breathing out, you have a direct, experiential realization of impermanence. Each breath comes and goes. When you meditate on your painful and sad stories, you have a direct experience of dukkha, suffering. It motivates you to live fully in the moment. This allows you to step away from the regrets of the past and the anxieties of the future and live completely in the present moment. To be exactly where you are right now. Practical mindfulness in action. When you are eating, eat, savor each bite. Notice the flavors, the textures. Don't be lost in thought. When you are reading, read. Give your full attention to the words on the page. When you are doing your job or at school, do your tasks with focus. Immerse yourself completely in the task at hand. When you are driving your car, drive your car, be fully present, aware of the road, the traffic, the sensations of driving. When you are with someone, spend that moment with them, listen deeply, connect authentically, without distraction. 5. Great things are the results of small good habits, the power of diligence. The Buddha teaches us, drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the fool, gathering it little by little, fills himself with evil. Likewise, the wise man, gathering it little by little, fills himself with good. This profound insight highlights that great things are the results of consistently cultivated small, good habits. The Buddhist approach to goodness and evil is very practical. Evil, unwholesome actions, may, for a time, lead us to temporary pleasure or apparent happiness. But all our bad actions, accumulated little by little, will eventually ripen and lead us to illness and bad experiences, forms of dukkha. So, while we may suffer from time to time, even if we are good, all our good actions, accumulated little by little, will eventually ripen and lead us to true happiness and lasting goodness. This is the precise law of karma. According to the European Journal of Social Psychology, It takes anywhere from 18 to 254 days of constant exercise and practice to develop a new habit. This underscores the power of consistency. On whatever skill you wish to learn, whatever positive change you wish to make, you can always start today. With a small, achievable step. You can't exercise for one day and immediately assume that you will be healthier all of a sudden. It's a gradual process, starting with small things, like switching to healthier alternatives of food, taking a brisk walk daily, or waking up early in the morning to stretch, builds momentum. In the same way, whatever bad habit you wish to change, you can always start small. Dr. Nora Volkow, director of the NIH's National Institute on Drug Abuse, suggests that the first step is to become more aware of your habits, mindfulness, so you can develop strategies to change them. You may start by avoiding the places that can trigger your vice, like lessening your time in pubs, or try switching to healthier alternatives, choosing unsalted popcorn over a bag of potato chips, or chewing gum over reaching for a cigarette. It doesn't matter if you fail sometimes. That is part of learning and the process of right effort. Sama Vyama. Just pick yourself up and keep going. 6. Show your wisdom in silence. The power of the still mind. The Buddha tells us, know from the rivers in clefts and in crevices, those in small channels flow noisily. The great flow silent. Whatever's not full makes noise. Whatever is full is quiet. This profound metaphor reminds us that true wisdom often manifests not in constant chatter, but in discerning silence. He believed that there is always a time to speak and a time to listen. If one is to talk, he must talk only when his words are well-meaning, just, endearing, and true, right speech. Samavaka. But, crucially, one must learn to listen more, acknowledging that we do not know everything. He cautioned against useless chatter, idle gossip, or those who judge arbitrarily and with their biases. In today's digital information age, whenever we scroll through social media, it is incredibly easy for us to fall for fake news, misinformation, and biased opinions. Sometimes, we even justify our wrong beliefs with a single YouTube video or a single article. Without deeper inquiry, this little knowledge can be dangerous because we assume that there's an easy answer, that every other perspective is invalid, and that we are the only ones that know the truth. It's often called the wisdom paradox. Take for example the great Albert Einstein when he said, "The more you learn, the more you are exposed to what you don't know." The Buddha reminds us that those who are truly wise know to listen, because they acknowledge that there are always things that they do not know. A little knowledge is dangerous because you might be so convinced by your own opinion that you fail to look at the truth. Because you easily dismiss other people. One can truly share wisdom and also learn immensely from another by listening attentively and engaging in healthy dialogue, rooted in respect, rather than pointless debate. 7. If in a conflict, choose compassion. Breaking the cycle of hatred. One of the Buddha's most radical and transformative teachings for human interaction is this: hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is an eternal rule. Even Siddhartha Gautama experienced discrimination and suffering, facing abuse and betrayal, and he had to go through a hard journey to build his legacy. This teaching is not naive, it's born from direct experience. Other famous leaders, like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi, who both advocated nonviolent action that led to profound societal changes in their corresponding countries, were also victims of evil words, discrimination, and disbelief. Their lives demonstrated this very principle. Buddhism teaches us that the endless cycle of violence, of hatred, of abuse, of revenge, can never be stopped with more hatred. When someone insults you, and you insult back, sometimes the conflict comes back worse, escalating endlessly. When someone punches and we punch back, we go home with more bruises and wounds, both physical and emotional. Nonviolence, ahimsa, is not just letting yourself be harassed or assaulted passively, it is a powerful, active way to protect yourself from even greater evils, the internal poisons of anger and resentment. Practical solutions. When you are bullied by a classmate or a colleague, as long as you don't feel physically threatened, empower yourself first. Remind yourself of your inherent goodness, that their words can never truly hurt you, and that you may make mistakes, but you can always keep trying. Remember, the bully wants you to feel angry and powerless because they are also experiencing something bad in their own life. projecting their own suffering. Some practical solutions include: when a bully is approaching you, count from 1 to 100 to relax yourself and regain composure. Or maybe you can just calmly walk away. Or if he insults you, join in, playfully insult yourself and laugh with him. Then walk away, disarming his aggression. Or you can simply look at them with compassion, karuna, and be genuinely nice to them. Breaking their expectation. However, if the bullying becomes serious or involves physical assault or abuse, it is important to seek help from authorities. Meditating on your own giftedness and inner worth lets you see that you are more than what they say. Their words have no power unless you accept them. 8. Choose friends for quality over quantity. The power of Sangha. According to the Buddha, admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life. When a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and comrades, he can be expected to develop and pursue the Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha reminds us that it is profoundly better to seek fellowship with noble men and women, those who uplift and inspire, than to associate with evil or negative companions. The Buddha acknowledges that life is not a solitary journey. Along the way, we encounter a lot of people, but not every one of these people is a good influence for us. Sadly, some bad habits are developed because of negative peer pressure or societal expectations. In our experiences, when we are rich or in prosperity, when we are famous or well-known, people often like to be around us, drawn by our external circumstances. But when we are in deep need of support, when hardship strikes, we often find fewer true friends to turn to. We have the profound decision-making power to choose the people who can influence us to be better. Good friends are those who lead you to goodness, to virtue, to develop wholesome habits, and not those who let you go astray. Those who push you to vices or negativity. It is better to have few, genuinely supportive friends who care for you truly, and who work with you towards a better life, than many superficial acquaintances. This is the essence of Sangha, community, a supportive environment for spiritual growth. 9. Be generous. The ripple effect of compassion. In the timeless words of the Buddha, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. The Buddha has always emphasized how generosity, dana, and helping each other can create immense positive change in the world, initiating a powerful ripple effect of kindness. According to various research studies, there is indeed a scientific basis for this ripple effect of kindness. Just as anger or fear can be passed on to others, so does a simple, genuine act of kindness. A sincere smile to someone can subtly inspire them to work better, to be kinder. A gesture of compassion, a moment of empathy, can be passed on from one person to another. When you help someone carry their groceries, they might be inspired to open a door for a stranger. That stranger, touched by the unexpected kindness, would be inspired to pass on that act of kindness by giving a lunch to a coworker, or assisting an elderly person cross the street. A multitude of positive actions can spring forth from that simple act of kindness, creating a chain reaction of goodness. However, the Buddha, with his profound wisdom, first asks us to take care of ourselves. You cannot genuinely give what you do not have. You may truly want to help people to the point of exhausting yourself, or breaking down your own boundaries, or neglecting your own time to eat or sleep, and then you get sick or burnt out. In such a state, you would not be able to offer sustainable help to anyone else. It is paramount to take care of yourself, to live healthily, to give yourself time for meditation, to ask for support from other people, because only then can you genuinely give the strength, the love, and the wisdom you have within you. Self-care is not selfishness, it is a prerequisite for sustained generosity. 10. You can be a Buddha too. The call to personal awakening. In our final, most empowering quote for this video, the Buddha encapsulates the ultimate truth of his teachings. You yourself must strive. The Buddhas only point the way. All these invaluable life lessons given to us by the Buddha are meant to teach us that we can be a Buddha too. We can also be enlightened, but only if we choose to diligently live out these Buddhist teachings daily. The Buddhas who came before him and those who developed Buddhism after him can be a source of immense inspiration and a guiding light for all of us. Right now, we may sometimes feel like life is hopeless. We may find ourselves in debt, unhappy in our jobs, having conflicts with our family and friends. We may feel like life is simply too hard on us already. That external circumstances are overwhelming. But the Buddha reminds us that true change starts with us. We should take ultimate control of our lives and not leave it up to fate or the heavens. We must struggle well and not give up easily. Each component of the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, is something we can actively start cultivating more by the habits we build today. We can always read more, research more, learn more, and we hope together to achieve liberation from the life of suffering, or nirvana, that the Buddha guides us to. His teachings of the Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path are not strict rules to be followed blindly. And not following them won't result in punishment from a god. There is no capital G, God in Buddhism who judges. There are gods, but they're stuck in the same cycle of samsara as the rest of us. And you can even be reborn as one if you've got great karma. The Buddha's teachings are simply a proven guide to escape suffering, leave the cycle, and achieve nirvana like he did. The important part is using the teachings that work for you, in your unique life circumstances. As the Dalai Lama once wisely said, if you find that the teachings suit you, apply them to your life as much as you can. If they don't suit you, just leave them be. This flexibility is key to Buddhism's enduring appeal. This is why there are dozens of different kinds of Buddhism, but they can generally be divided into two major branches. Theravada, the school of the elders, focused on individual liberation and closer to early teachings, common in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar, and Mahayana, the great vehicle, emphasizing the bodhisattva ideal of helping all beings, prevalent in East Asia like China, Japan, Korea. Another prominent tradition under Mahayana is Vajrayana, the diamond vehicle, or Tibetan Buddhism, which uses specialized practices to achieve enlightenment faster. The Buddha's life story is an unending source of inspiration, showing us that the path to liberation is not without its trials, but that through unwavering effort, profound compassion, and radical non-attachment, victory over suffering is always possible. Your life is your most precious Buddha story. Thank you so much for watching, and may you always carry the profound peace and illuminating wisdom of these stories within your heart. Join our growing community by liking this video and subscribing to Buddha Story, where ancient wisdom beautifully meets modern mindfulness. Which of these 10 life lessons from the Buddha will you choose to apply most diligently in your own life this week? Share your reflections and experiences in the comments below. Until our next encounter, may your path be filled with profound peace, deep understanding, and the radiant light of your own awakening.